Okay, fam, welcome back. So today we're going to be going over the grayscale trusts, and we're also going to go over Bitcoin, and we're going to talk a little bit about Bitcoin. And you guys are probably disappointed why it hasn't popped off yet. So, and the jobs data. So with that being said, let's get it. All right. So the first thing I actually do want to talk about here is Bitcoin. You guys are probably like, "What the hell, dude? This thing's not popping off to the moon." Guys, it usually doesn't go to the all-time highs until after the elections anyways. I kind of suspected October, November was going to be a market phase. You guys can see that we have gotten that. Again, look, I can't say with any absolute certainty how this is going to play out, but based on history, it usually does go up into the elections, and then sometime after the election, it goes to all-time high, okay? So Q4 of the halving year is usually when we get the Bitcoin kind of rip where Bitcoin will scream all the way to whatever all-time highs it is. It'll top out sometime in Q1 usually, or somewhere between Q4 and Q1, and then you'll get your big alt season. Okay, Ethereum and alts will pop off Q1, Q2. Then maybe some kind of mid-cycle correction between Q2, Q3, summer lulls as they call it in the markets. And then Q3, Q4, we'll get another big pop-off in Bitcoin and the altcoins, and that's when the altcoins really explode most of the time, is kind of towards the end of the bull run. But regardless, Bitcoin's still up 40% from the swing low down here at 52,000. And again, you guys got to understand here, okay? It has broken out of this bull flag cup and handle pattern. It is creating a series of higher highs and higher lows, which is a bull trend, okay? We told you guys as soon as it closed above 64,500, these candles right here, we get a candle close above. That's it. That is a trend change, and you guys can see we got that. Okay, there was a slight pullback here into the EMAs, kind of back somewhat into this former kind of level here. That's completely normal. Okay, and then we got this candle close right at the top of the channel, and then boom, big fat green candle. Now we're retesting these previous swing highs, and then we're lifting, of course, and this is going to be kind of that's basically the structure of a bull trend. Okay, is usually that's how that happens. It doesn't just go up or down in a straight line. In this case, up. It doesn't go up in a straight line, but it does go up. Okay, so I want to take a quick look with you guys at previous history here, so we can kind of gauge a little bit more closely when this thing is actually going to run. So if I go back here to 2020 and the halving year. Again, this is an election year. You guys can see that it did have a market phase in October, November. It did not actually go to all-time highs until after. Again, the elections are going to be on November 5th this year. I don't know if it's on November 5th every year because I have not followed the elections as closely as I have this year in prior times. But if it is on the same day, in this case, it would be after the elections that Bitcoin pushed to all-time highs. You can see it actually did not start really going to all-time highs until about the middle of December. Okay, so the middle of December was the last time that it went to all-time highs in the previous cycle. Now, if I'm going back even further in time here, this is like really far in time to the 2016. Again, if I actually got to zoom out to see where the previous all-time high was here. Okay, so the previous all-time high was roughly about 1170. So 2016, you can see we kind of did slowly move up. Again, not every cycle is going to play out exactly the same way, but we did slowly move up here. Again, if the elections was on November 5th in 2016, then Bitcoin would not have actually started ripping past the previous all-time high in this particular cycle until almost looks like it got past it and then got rejected roughly about February or March following the halving year. So it actually took a few more months than what we're currently sitting at right now. And if you guys are wondering, the rejection off all-time highs, we're going to zero. I'm not so sure about that. I mean, you guys can see you got that blow off top here. We came up, tested it twice, actually. Once here, got rejected. A second time got rejected, and then boom, took off in 2017. So yeah, what we're seeing with the rejection off the all-time highs right now, that's completely normal in my opinion. There is going to be some testing of the all-time highs before it actually pops off. That would not shock me at all. Again, we came up here. You can see, hit it, got rejected once, hit it again, got rejected twice, and then boom, took off. So it's completely normal for it to test all-time highs before actually breaking out. And again, Bitcoin doesn't usually go to all-time highs until after the elections. That is assuming that the elections are the exact same day every single election year. So theoretically, Bitcoin could do something like this. Okay, so it's kind of hard to see the squiggly line, but it could do something like this and come up, and you guys can see these kind of higher lows, higher highs, higher lows formation. It could kind of bob around here a little bit, maybe something like, well, okay, that's let me redo this. That's terrible. Okay, so we could get something like this. Okay, so we drew this line before, and then maybe it kind of chops sideways a little bit until after the elections, and then does something like this. Okay, where it just kind of basically consolidates right at all-time highs, then lifts into the all-time highs, and then comes back and boom, takes off like a rocket. Again, this would be completely normal. Something like that is very possible. It can absolutely happen with Bitcoin. It would not shock me if it's consolidated at the all-time highs for a few weeks, which we're kind of more or less seeing right now. Again, the next thing I want to go over before the trusts, and I know this is dragging on a little bit. Look, we did get this break of this bullish cup and handle, bull flag, descending channel. They're all bullish. Okay, they're all bullish patterns. You can go look online for yourself to see this, do your research. You'll see that what I'm saying is what most traders see. Okay, bullish patterns. So we got a big fat monthly candle breakout here. In my opinion, that is a signal to break us out of all-time highs, to get us up to the next level. Whether it plays out immediately or not, that remains to be seen. But you can see the candle. We had a test right here. This, of course, this cycle was different. It was more explosive, but we tested and then boom, took off. So we did have a test here. It didn't show on the monthly, but it did show on the weekly. This would have been the breakout candle. What happened afterwards? We went higher up. And again, if I'm going over to, you can see the previous all-time high in 2013. We kind of tested it right here. We got our breakout candle right here in April of 2017. What happened after that? Basically, Bitcoin just pretty much went straight up, okay, from May until December. And then we had our blow off top. So that's kind of what I'm seeing right now. All right, so, and I'm just trying to paint a picture for you guys that, you know, when we get that monthly candle close above the previous all-time highs, that's usually the signal that sends us to all-time highs. It doesn't play out the day after necessarily, but it does eventually happen within a short period of time. All right, so let's go over the trusts. Again, I know I skipped a day with this on y'all, but there was a lot of other more important pressing issues that I felt we needed to talk about because there's a lot going on right now, okay, economically speaking. So LTCN is still looking good. All right, so we got the weekly, finally the confirmation on the golden cross here. That's a bullish sign in my opinion. You guys can see the last time we got one was back here, and eventually LTCN did lift. It was a little slow at the start, but that's usually how it goes. Again, slowly, rapidly, suddenly. And then eventually we just took off like a rocket all the way up to $54 from right around the golden cross, maybe right around $5. So about a 10x. So that's a very bullish sign in my opinion. We got rejected off the EMA's top of the channel here. Again, that's not shocking. That probably some sellers or maybe profit takers looking to get in or out of their positions. That's psychological trading for you. But overall, we did get a candle close above these candles. I'd say that's bullish and also outside of the zone. So my buy areas here is still between 13 to I'd say about 15 at this point. Again, we are closed below the channel in the EMA. So until we get above it, I can't say the EMAs are support at this time. Then you got 25 to 27 and then the all-time high, or not all-time high, the swing high at 54. So, and again, the all-time highs are at 510. So measured move here, roughly about 325% gain. BCHG, this one also has the golden cross confirmed with the green on the histogram. Again, the price did pull back to the EMAs. I'm not too worried about that. I mean, it closed above the EMAs. That's what matters. It's still bullish in my opinion. You can see the EMAs already starting to form a kind of golden cross here. So inverse head and shoulders. Again, the target for that, if I measure this for you guys based on classic TA here, should have been basically right about where we hit, so $12 or so. And again, this candle hit about 11.20. Does it mean it's going to stop there? Probably not. BCHG will probably go much higher. Okay, so support here, buy zones, I'm looking roughly about 740 to about 780. And then, of course, the targets anywhere from 1040 to about 20. Swing high about 24. And, of course, BCHG's current all-time high is at 60. Probably going to go higher than that. Once Bitcoin starts taking off, Bcash and Litecoin will go with it, and likely these trusts are also going to go up with it. So roughly about 270% gain here. HZEN, this one is interesting. So, I mean, you can see this kind of curling up. That's a very bullish sign, in my opinion. Not really liking this candle too much, but it did close above the EMAs and above the zone, so that's bullish. You got the golden cross. Let's see what else we got here. Suppose if I did something else here, maybe you guys can see this. And again, once you've been trading for a while, this becomes apparently obvious to you. At a bird's eye view, you can see this downward channel. We did break out of it. That's obviously bullish. The target's the top of the channel here, which is basically about, let's see, $9. I actually want to get rid of some of these other lines because these are going to drive me a little nuts. I'm not one of those type of people that likes to have lots and lots of lines on their chart. Some people do that. I don't. I like to keep it simple. So kind of the buy zones I'm looking for here could be anywhere from 340 to say roughly about 430. Again, it can kind of wick down and then pop back above the EMAs. That's always a possibility. So the targets here is 680 all the way up to 1220. Again, you kind of have the top of the channel as the channel target. So maximum measured move here would be roughly about, let's say about 240, 250% gain. ETCG. So we did close within this bearish descending triangle. Again, that is a bearish pattern. I'm not expecting that to play out, but we'll just have to wait and see. So as of right now, the buy zone is going to be between 7 to 980, targets 1330 to about 20. And again, we'll talk about maximum profit targets in a separate video, but if I'm doing the maximum measured move here, it's about 180% gain. Again, the EMAs on the MACD are curling up. On the weekly time frame, we did get the golden cross on the RSI, so that's part of the reason why I think it's likely not going to break down. ETH. So this one doesn't look as bullish as ETCG, which is fine. I mean, Ethereum hasn't really had its day in the sun yet. Again, this doesn't usually happen until Bitcoin hits its true all-time high, which in my opinion it still has to do. So the price action on this, as far as I'm concerned, is completely normal. So the buy zone is going to be down here at this white line, 1850. Targets are going to be anywhere from 2360 all the way up to the cup and handle target at the previous all-time high at about 48. So you have a W pattern here, which is very bullish. The target for that is the top, basically the top of where the pattern started. In this case, you could say it's about 33. You could also say it's roughly about 36, somewhere there. So there's a gap that needs to be filled to the upside between 23 to 2550. That's likely going to get filled. Okay. And then you have your big, massive cup and handle pattern here. It's kind of ugly, but it's cup and handle nonetheless. Okay. So that's the target up there. All right. So maximum measured move here on this one, going to be roughly about 155% move. GBAT. So this one did have, a lot of these had a pullback. Again, the market was up at the start of the day to about the middle of the day. Then it kind of retraced basically back to where it started. Those of you guys that actually trade for a living or do day trading period, you would know what I'm talking about here. So GBAT, this one has not had a golden cross yet, but the histogram is getting very close to turning green. So I consider that to be bullish. It's still sitting at the buy zone. It's still a golden buy opportunity, in my opinion. You guys can do what you want to with that. So 440 to 510 here, and then above, roughly about $8 to $10. The all-time high is at 32, so anywhere between 10 to 32, depending on what you're looking for. 625% gain. FILG. So I don't know what the heck happened here. Clearly, the buyers could not hold this support. So, yeah, that's not great. If for some reason it does come down to this buy zone, I mean, you guys are going to get the buying opportunity of a lifetime because usually these cryptocurrencies don't go back to bear market lows until the following bear market. There are some exceptions to that rule with Filecoin, for example. Filecoin has done it. If I go back over here, you guys can see Filecoin has gone back to the bear market lows. Of course, we haven't had a true all season yet, so that's to be expected. Litecoin is not even back at the bear market lows yet. Ethereum, obviously not quite at the bear market lows. I can go over the other ones. AIOZ, not at the bear market lows. Let's see here. Let's take a look at different ones. So Bitcoin Cash, not at the bear market lows. So there is going to be exceptions to the rule, okay? But they're pretty rare. They're not very common. So I'll just say maybe the top of the zone could get hit. It could happen. Or this could be, of course, an undercut. You guys know the markets are notorious for that, okay? So maybe it pops off, bounces from 24.50 at about this candle. We'll just have to wait and see. So 470 to about 1190. Again, if you're very hesitant, you don't want to touch it unless it gets in that zone. I would completely understand that. This is crypto, after all. It's very volatile. It is risky to some extent. So the all-time high is up here at 400. I'll give you guys two different scenarios, okay? We'll say this is an undercut. It pops to the upside, goes to all-time highs at some point, or chop sideways, go to all-time highs. 1,500% gain there. In the second scenario, if it hits the top of that range, about a 3,000% gain. Third worst case scenario, which I highly doubt is going to play out unless we get some kind of black swan, which I also don't think we're going to get, about 8,500%. GLIV, so this one also did get a breakdown, and again, it's you guys got to understand the way that crypto works. Okay, it goes Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then altcoins. It's possible altcoins and ETH could still bleed against Bitcoin until Bitcoin hits its all-time high, or until it breaks out from 74,000. Okay, that's possible. Could happen. I would not be shocked if that happened. I'm going to go ahead and say that because there's this huge accumulation block here, if it is going to hit a next level, maybe around $7, okay, for GLIV. I wouldn't have expected that these would break down at this point, but again, it's totally normal for alts to bleed against Bitcoin until Bitcoin goes to all-time highs, and of course, the Bitcoin dominance is rising as well. We need to see that falling for an alt season. So we'll just say from the 670 or 690, whatever, to the all-time high, 1,100%. Again, if this is an undercut, which is also possible, 1250 to 1450 is going to be about your support zone. 560% gain here. All right, G-Link. So this one's still kind of sitting at the lows here. It's holding as of right now, so 38 to 46. Target's going to be anywhere from 65 to 220. Measured move here, roughly about 460, 470%. GSOL, so we got back in this zone. So if you're looking for that buying opportunity on GSOL, here it is. So 300 to 350, and then 580 is the all-time highs. Let's say from the bottom of this pattern here, or this support zone, you got about 95% move. GXLM, so anywhere between the white lines, roughly about 1450 to 24. And then targets above head, 52 to about 70. So you're looking at about 360% gain. All right, Mana. This one's, it has cut below the support here, but again, we did get an undercut before. You can see right here, and then it popped above. Again, market makers, markets, they do this, okay? You get undercuts and overcuts, like you can see it overcut right here, this candle, and then boom, drop down. So you could get an undercut here and then boom, pop up. That would be totally normal. Again, it's meant to sweep liquidity out of the markets to basically stop people out. If people have their stops down here, they'll come down here, grab your stop, and then take off in the opposite direction. That's totally normal when it comes to trading. All right, so buy zone down here at 10. So anywhere between 18 to 70 is going to be that all-time high up there. So I'll just give you guys the maximum move here. So roughly about 660% gain. Zcash was surprisingly up. That's interesting. So the buy zone here between $3.20 to $6 is kind of a range, but you guys can see these things. This one in particular loves to go sideways when it does. So targets anywhere between I'd say about 760 to about 1750. So potentially as much as 460% gain. All right, so last thing I want to talk about here is the data. I did tell you guys I was going to go over this real quick. So I'm not going to go too deep into it, but most of this came out at about 5:30 Pacific Standard Time, 8:30 New York time. So So the thing I was most interested in that I was looking at was the not so much manufacturing, but non-farm payrolls. That was what I was interested in, and the unemployment rate. So this is wild. All right. So the prior was 223,000. The forecast was 113,000, and the actual, according to the data, again, in my opinion, is being manipulated. There's no way it came in at this much of an undercut. Okay, I think this is intentional. I could speculate about why it is. Maybe the Democrats think they really do believe that Trump's going to win, and they're pissed, so they're trying to screw him and the markets over by doing something like this. I can't say for certain this is happening. It's just pure speculation. Maybe they intentionally did this because they want to cause a market crash. I don't know. Again, I don't think that's likely to happen. I will say that I do believe that this data is not real. There's a scenario where it could be real. Okay. Again, we saw the natural disasters, right? The Hurricane Milton, where the hurricane kind of went through Florida, went up to North Carolina. My prayers to those people. Okay, I would not wish that upon anybody. But that may put some people temporarily out of a job, and maybe they're still on the payroll or something like that, and that's why this number looks like this. That's also possible. Okay. So the other thing here was, let me see if I can find it. So where is it? The unemployment rate remained the same. Okay. And again, that hurricane theory where basically people temporarily lost their jobs, it kind of reflects in the non-farm payrolls, but they're still technically on the books in these companies. And that's why the unemployment rate didn't change, because they're still employed. But again, you got natural disasters. So I'm kind of in a toss-up between the two. It's hard to say exactly what's going on here. I will say this, though. Okay, the non-farm payrolls coming in at 12K and the hurricane disasters doesn't really look good for the Democrats. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about that. So anyways, hope you all enjoyed this content. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.